Good morning, dear student. Today's our lesson is conference presentation. So let's start our lesson, students. The present person who presents the research gets the credit. Paul Shu first superconductor with the boiling point about liquid nitrogen. Mu, Q, V, and Jim Ashburn declined to speak and are not remembered. And bad conference presentation. About the bad conference presentation, if you see from the presentation, you have seen poor conference presentation. The speaker sees three speakers indeed loud voice, uses sentences which are long and complex, uses technical words and phrases, emphasize complicated details, run out of time. An effect talk must do two things: persuade your audience with evidence, be interesting and entertaining. Principles of active conference presentation. If you see, here is a lot of about the conference presentation. Talk instead to reading, stand up, move around, make eye contact with our audience, and don't only look at one side of the room. Imitate excellent speakers. And here is one of the questions, and with the answer you will see why do smart people give poor talks? Poor speaking is a reaction to fear. Presentations are not journal articles. They are completely different, communicated, and they require different skills. And here is the scientific presenters, the successful scientific presenters: Ludwig Boltzmann, Albert Einstein, Richard Feynman, Rita Levi-Montelli, and here is a lot of the presenters of this type. And Michael Friedrich on presenting, depending entirely for their value on manner in which they are given. It's not to matter, not the subject so much as the man. And result of Fermer's practice, later students found him to be the most stimulating lecture they had experienced. And we have 10 tips of develop confidence in conference presentation. And you will see, first one is expect to be nervous, next one prepare and participate, breathe, rehearse, focus on your audience, simplify, picture success, connect with your audience, and last one is presented to be confident. you will be developed in your conference presentation. So advantage and disadvantage of different source for speech. First source, there are 4 sources, and here the advantage and disadvantage of these sources. The first one is speaking from points, and the second one is memorizing, and the next one is reading, and the last one is speaking of the cuff. So, and advantage of speaking from point is the credibility earned, ease of adjusting speech, eye contact, neutral space. And disadvantage of these points is wording not exact and long preparation time. And the next our sources is memorizing. The advantage of memorizing is precision, smooth delivery, credibility earned, eye contact. And a disadvantage of this source is a potential for disaster, unusual pace, an ability to adjust speech, long preparation time. And reading, in a reading, is the advantage of the reading is the precision, smooth delivery, and a disadvantage is a lack of eye contact and natural pace, an ability to adjust speech, and the long preparation time. And speaking of the cuff sources, advantage is a presentation time, eye contact, neutral place, and disadvantage is the potential for disaster, difficulty in organizing, lack of visual aids, dear students. And here is a shown from the PPT situation appropriate for each source of speech. Sources are speaking from point, memorizing, reading, and speaking of part, as you see. And situation is a conference presentation. Presentation is a business meeting, university lecture. First few words of presentation, short in the introduction of speaker, press conference, quotation with a presentation, complex wording within presentation, answering a question, asking a question. And voice quality, you should vary your voice so it can be more interesting for your audience. You can vary your voice in at least the ways. Face the audience and speak loudly and clearly. Don't look at your slides. Make you to speak to screen. This quotes your voice and break your contact with the audience. Look at the slides on your laptop screen in front of you. You must look at the main screen, look at quickly and then face the audience. Make simple slides with short text so you won't have trouble knowing when you quickly look at the screen. Think about your presentation goal. Focus on the main points. Think about your audience. Most audience should be targeted in layers. Some are expect in a specific area. Some are expect in the general area. Audience attention. Don't try to say too much. Use handouts for all supplement materials. Never go longer than 45 minutes. Most people maximum attention span. If you exceed this limit, you will lose them at the crucial point, your conclusion. And using quotes in your speech. If you quote another source, face, and audience, the quote will be saying quote and quote. And about the PowerPoint. PowerPoint saves the time compared to writing on the whiteboard. Preparing for the computer problems. And we have another slides, and in a prepared humor of conference, don't do following the conference presentation. Using PowerPoint conference. Don't write everything and read. Your PowerPoint presentation should clarify idea, emphasize the key point, show relationship, provide you visual information, and user the audience understanding your message. Slides should be short. Slides help you and your audience follow the talk. Use big type and determine point size 72 point. Choosing a font 36 ppt helps 36 pt time. And choose a white or light color light background. Presenting with the charts showing change over time, comparing parts of the whole, comparing data by geographical location. Additional tips for graphs and charts. Don't get too technical. Don't apologize for errors. Buy laser point and wireless mouse. The last thing your PowerPoint handing O&A, Q&A. Why are your question and answer important? Before the presentation, prepare the criticism by telling your ideas to a critical friend. At the end of the presentation, there are two ending of presentation with a final Q&A session. After the presentation, sometimes quotation time is exciting that you can't answer the questions when the time you have. 12 ways to encourage audience quotation. You will see here about the meaning of the encourage quotation. And we have why do people ask questions? Because they want to know the answer, because they want to make a point, and so you will see the answer of this question. And the third step, template for answering question. And what you can think of nothing to say. So what if someone keeps interrupting you while you are talking? Don't let your time get wasted. Your final solution is an attacking attendance and remain after your presentation session. Dear student, this was about our lesson. Our lesson is over, dear students. Thank you for your attention. Our lesson is over, dear student. Goodbye. The lesson is over. Goodbye, dear students.